Hey guys, welcome to our Google Plus Hangout Q&A with Brantley Gilbert.
What's going on?
His latest album, Just As I Am, is on sale for only 99 cents right now on Google Play. So to celebrate, Brantley's here hanging out with me to answer a few of your questions. So what do you say we get started?
I'm good to go.
All right, first question comes from Amanda Williams. What is your favorite song to perform?
You know, all of them are fun in their own way, I think. Well, the funnest song to perform, I think, usually every night, one of them's got to be Kicking in the Sticks because it's the first one out of the gate and it's, it's wide open and everybody's, on 10. So that's probably my favorite. It's one of the most fun. I'm all tongue-tied this morning. Y'all got me up early.
All right, well,
Is it early for...
It's early. It is. So the next question comes from Curtis Smith. What is your favorite place to party?
Wherever the party's at. It's an honest to God truth. Curtis. And hopefully I run into you at a party where you don't laugh at Curtis. Maybe you laugh at Curtis.
No, I'm laughing at you. So there you go, wherever the party's at.
Wherever the party's at. That's a good answer.
That's a good one.
This is where the party's at. Right. We've got that recorded, right?
Yeah, we're on it.
I think there may be a song there.
We'll go back to that. There you go. You guys inspired a song. Brantley Gilbert, right there.
Pow. So
next we're going to Eugene Myers. How long have you been singing?
As long as I can remember. I sung when I was a little kid. My mom said that I used to put on like shows. I had like a little Chester George thing, and I had a little plastic microphone, a plastic guitar, and I'd get up on the table and I'd play shows to like the Mirror, apparently.
Yeah.
And my mom said that I thought I sounded a lot better than I actually did. So I don't know how long I've been singing decently. I'm never say that I'm a great singer. I'm more of a songwriter. I can sing songs I write, but I make sure I write them very simplistic so that I don't have to.
Do it.
Yeah, because I don't want to show people my Mariah Carey.
Yeah, I mean, only really special people get to see your Mariah Carey.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's a good call. Next, Gabby Batillo says, what is your favorite thing to do when you're not on the road?
I like riding motorcycles and I like hunting. So
you went hunting this week, right?
I did. And I didn't see a squirrel. It was bad. It's terrible.
That's bad.
That's all right.
We got plenty of time left.
That's right.
Next, we're going to Kaylee Byers. If you could write with anyone, living or not, who would it be?
Y'all don't think I'm crazy, but I was listening to an older Eminem record a couple of days ago, and I think that dude might.
That could be cool.
Yeah, the way he's just an awesome lyricist, and I think there may be some cool stuff coming out of that.
I like that. We should work on that. Yeah. That'd be great. Next, Nancy Fulton, another songwriting question. How long does it take you to write a song?
Songs can sometimes write themselves in a day, or I know people, and we've done it before when we wrote 2 in a day. And then other times, like Grown Ass Man or Saving Amy, those songs took a lot longer. It was, sometimes you just get the feeling where every word's got to be perfect. And it may take a little while to say everything exactly the way you want it. So anywhere from hours to years, I would say. That's a pretty big span.
That is a big span. Well, you got to get it right.
That's the honest to God truth to your question. That
was Nancy.
Nancy, I promise.
So now we're going to go to Ashley Nicole, and I have a feeling this will be a great answer. How did you come up with the song Read Me My Rights?
I'll give you 2 guesses, and the first one don't count. The situation, all right, and everybody's been through this when you're younger, when this song idea started. Like, when you're younger, this is about the situation where you're still pissed that the guy's locking you up. And you're not to the, man, please don't call my folks phase yet. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, Read Me My Rights is kind of one of those songs where it's just kind of cut and dry. This is there's a couple scenarios that I may or may not have been in before that where I know in my mind what I would do, and it'd be worth every second I had to spend behind bars. And there's a couple more situations other than listed. My mom just got married, and if that son of a bitch slips, oh, I said that on Google live internet, didn't I?
You did.
Oh, so
That's okay. Sorry, Google.
I'm watching you, asshole.
Moving on.
Okay, sorry.
Jeremy, actually, let's go to Haley Leo. With my boyfriend being in the Army and being a big fan of the song One Hell of an Amen, what inspired that song?
I'm pleased to announce that is our next single, which I'm really, really excited about. More so than it's a different excitement for this one, because I'm really excited to see what this song can do on and off the charts, more so off than on. But that song, a good friend of mine from back home lost his best friend overseas. They were, together. He watched the whole thing go down, and really shared the story with me in detail, and stuff about their friendship, and their brotherhood, and the way it all went down. It almost made me feel like I was there, Got a chance to meet the guy's sister, and she filled in all the blanks about the guy personally, and really almost felt like I knew him. And he, that inspired the first part of it, and then the USO tour, of course, is mainly in the first verse. We're talking about the ultimate sacrifice, but sacrifice altogether that those girls are displaying over there for us. And the second verse is mainly talking about a very, very dear friend of mine from back home that we lost to a battle with cancer. His name was Corey Potts. I also lost my papa to cancer, but in this second verse, it talks about the doctor coming in, and it's honest, got a true story. The doctor walked in, told Corey what he had, and everybody in the room watched Corey look the dude in the eye and said, "All right, bring it on." It's like, it is what it is. Let's it's leukemia, but let's do it. Bring it on. So when Brian and I and Uncle Mike Deacon were writing that song, we all agreed that if we had to imagine that anytime you go out fighting for your life or fighting for your country, it's one hell of an amen.
It's a great question.
That is a great question.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you to your boyfriend for his service. You said he's in the Army. So
oh, okay. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So going to Michelle Hum. How did you come up with such an amazing video for Bottoms Up? What was your inspiration?
That was, I remember Scott, my record label president, Scott Borchetta, and my manager, Rich Egan, and Scott's wife, Sandy, were on a plane headed somewhere. I can't remember where we were. I think it was maybe to a NASCAR race or something. I can't remember, but we were throwing back different ideas, and they always liked, want to talk about moonshine, and my great granddaddy was a runner up in the Blue Ridge Mountains and all that stuff, and it's it was kind of one of those things, and it revolved into, well, it'd be really cool if it went from old times, because I was like thinking like black and white, and then have the party scene like in color, but we ended up doing it like we did it, which is 10 times cooler. It was like a sepia tone almost. Great video. It was a lot of fun though, and the part at the end of it is, I'm sitting on, it's couch similar to this one. But I was getting the most awesome massage I think I've ever got. Yes, you were. I was singing when that happened. So that was all about, I was watching like that Lil Wayne video, like B Words Love Me. And he has got a bed, and it's floating in water in a bedroom. This bedroom's full of water, and there's just girls swimming around in the water and up on the bed. It's like, so that was kind of
So
That was
your
my
version,
rap.
you
That
needed
was
to
my rap
recreate.
video moment.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only way you can get 3 good-looking girls like that to rub on you without one of them swinging on the other one, you gotta pay them to be in a video.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I figured.
You gotta see them rappers are getting them to do it. You think honestly that them girls that's in them videos will be rubbing on them boys like that?
Money. You know?
Gotta be. Gotta be.
All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. Moving on to Jeremy Chua. How do you stay rooted in your faith and Christianity in the hustle and bustle of this career?
You know, that's a good question, man, and that's been something. I was talking to a radio interview the other day, and was talking about how, you know, when I wrote Modern Day Prodigal Son, I always noticed that when my relationship with God really, when there was separation there, that I started dropping the ball and making, you know, really bad decisions, and that's why Prodigal Son is kind of a recurring theme. It's probably still my favorite song. I think one of them that I've ever written. But you know, my new fiance, as always, we've always gone to church together since I've known her. Except for the 5 years she was on it. We didn't talk. So we didn't go to church together then. But that and my mother is a very, very devout Christian. Well, my whole family is really, and you know, there's plenty of opportunities to talk. And I mean, I wish I could make it to church more on Sunday mornings, but we actually, my bus driver, we listen to church choirs on Sunday.
I like that.
He turns it up. Yeah, he turns it up really loud, and then he opens the front door so it's the whole bus is open, and he just blares it. I love choirs, like especially black choirs. I went to a predominantly black church one time in Atlanta. It was Crevlo Dollar's church. I'm telling you, that was a choir.
I'm sure that was a choir.
Ooh-wee. I'm serious. I about became a member.
Well, there you go. Very good. Well, thank you, Jeremy.
That was a good question, but how do I stay in that? Man, I constantly pray. I am a prayer warrior, and I have several people that keep me that way and make sure that stays that way.
So now to a little bit more fun of a question here from Heather Gabor. What is your favorite go-to snack food?
Go-to snack. You know what? Here recently, we do these CID meet and greets before shows.
VIP party.
Right. And at the end of them, PJ always raises his hand. My head of security raises his hand like he's going to ask a question. I call on him. And whatever he says, whenever he raises his hand, like it's past time to go, because I always run overtime. And he got into this little skit every night where he'd be like, considering how pissy you get before a show, don't you think we ought to go get your Snickers bar? And it was real funny at first. And then one of my favorite friends of ours ever brought me like a whole bag of Snickers bars. So
that's your new go-to? Yeah,
but the thing is, you think about a Snickers bar, is like any of those things by themselves.
It's the combination.
It's the combination.
The sweet and the salty.
It is.
Yeah, I got it. And there you go, Heather. Snickers bars.
Look at that. My thumb with the delay on it just makes it look like it's.
All right.
They can see all this too.
They can. They are watching. So Michelle Rivera says, who are some of your favorite artists, both past and present?
You know, I've got so many of those, it's hard to list. But, you know, if we're talking country, I'm like, you know, George Jones, Vern Gosdin, Hank Jr., you know, of course, Mr. Jennings. And, you know, I mean, there's so many individual songs, but a lot of songwriters and guys that wrote their own stuff. It's interesting to go back and listen and really see what they wrote about. You know, and it's, you know, the whole outlaw era, you know, I think everybody knows I'm a fan of that. So those guys, I mean, if it's multi-genre, you know, if you say that Southern rock is Southern rock. Was it Greg Allman that said that rock was created in the South? So if you say Southern rock, you basically say rock. Food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Food for thought. But no, I'm a huge Skinner fan. I like the Stones, AC/DC, a little bit of everything. Then I like some Disturbed and Korn, and I like some Eminem.
You gotta be well versed, well rounded.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for you.
I'm an adrenaline junkie and I'm an extremist. So it's like, I like really, really heavy stuff or really, really cold stuff. I'm a Brian McKnight fan too. I love that dude.
That is some good music right there.
I wrote a song with him. It's the only time I've ever been intimidated in a writing room. Him and Guy Clark.
All right.
But it was, yeah.
That's good. Those are some good answers. I like it.
She's
Thank
proud
you,
of
Michelle.
me. Thank you, Michelle. She's proud of this.
I'm proud of this. All right. So Lacey Lee has a very sweet question. I'm sure everybody's wondering, how is Silo doing?
That's a sweet name, Lacey Lee.
Isn't that a sweet name?
That is a sweet name. You have a sweet name, Lacey. Silo is good. He's got a little injury beside his eye. Well, you know, he's goofy. And he runs around. He's lazy. He sleeps all the time. But the only thing he does when he gets out is like, he takes off running. And he grabs the biggest stick he can find. And it's literally 3 times his size. And he was toting this one long ways and sticking way out here. And he ran between 2 trees. And that stick broke and hit him right in the eye. And it cut him a little bit.
Got him.
So he was almost blind and deaf there for a minute. And one eye anyway.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
But he's good. It's Silo. All right. So
Thanks for asking somebody to know. I guarantee you what time is it right now in
Not sure.
Georgia.
What time is it in Georgia? 11:30.
Huh.
He's probably sleeping.
He did.
Yeah.
He sleep.
Okay. So Rhonda DiMarzio says, who was the first artist you ever saw in concert?
I watched Garth Brooks one time. Actually, the first concert I ever went to was a Third Day concert. I think my mom took me to see like John Barry when I was younger, but I don't remember much about that one. Not that I'm not a John Barry fan. I think
You were
it's
little.
Yeah. So I think she took me to 1 or 2 of those, but I think like my first show, like I went with a youth group to see Third Day.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But first country show was Garth. I remember watching that dude like run all over the stage,
He
climb
still
stuff.
does. He's touring now.
I know.
Still runs around.
And that's awesome. I remember he was one of the first people I saw perform, and I was like, if I ever do this, I'm going to perform like that. And we do. We act crazy and goofy.
You do. If you haven't seen it yet, he does.
Come see us. We'll be goofy and have fun. I said some awkward things up there.
So this is a great question. I know some of you guys remember when you released the album, you did a huge motorcycle ride from Athens, Georgia, which is pretty much your hometown, right next to it, up to Arlington. So Wendy Gray says, when you released Just As I Am and did the Folds of Honor Athens to Arlington motorcycle ride, what was your favorite part of the ride?
My favorite part of the ride, and I think you probably remember me saying this, is that, you know, the whole thing started off as, okay, we're releasing an album. Let's do it. Let's do something good with it in the process. And by the end of the trip, and y'all were there, it completely turned around where it was like, okay, we're going to ride for Folds of Honor. And something that, you know, and the album really, really became the other thing we were doing while we were out there.
Yeah.
And you know, I thought it was pretty awesome to be able to take, you know, a lot of the light from something like an album release and shed it on something that's really, really, really important. And that was probably the coolest part.
Absolutely. Let's see, Jen Rice, it's her birthday. She says, thanks for doing this on my birthday. So happy birthday, Jen.
Happy birthday, Jen. How old are you?
I don't know, we'll have to find out.
She can't answer.
No, but she says, Who outside of country music would you love to perform with? Which you kind of alluded to earlier, you might want to collaborate with, so maybe you could perform with Eminem?
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be neat. I don't know, and two of my biggest buddies in the world I already collabed on a song with. I got T-Ret and J-Mo on Small Town Throwdown, so I'm kind of, that was a lot of fun. So whoever I do the next one with, they're going to have to bring their A game. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's a good one. Lynn Hoolan says, did you ever get that squirrel that was eating up your front porch?
Oh, I tore his ass up. Yeah, he's a little furball. That's what happens. You hit a squirrel with a 12 gauge sawed-off shotgun at 10 yards. Hell, it blowed two of my porch pickets off.
You destroyed your own porch in the process.
And a squirrel.
Okay.
He deserved it. If you'd have seen what he was doing to my porch.
Tearing it up, huh?
Yes. And I like squirrels. It makes some good eating.
Not when you blow them to pieces with a shotgun.
You can still have like little squirrel nuggets. And just, you know what I mean? And cook them a little square at a time. If they're full of beads, just hope you don't bite down on
I
a
guess.
shotgun bead.
I guess. Well, there you go, Lynn. He got it.
It'll be next. There. Thank you, Lynn.
Alyssa Klimper says, what has been your favorite venue to perform at? What's some interesting venues you've been at?
Well, my goal in the music business was to sell out the Georgia Theater. It's right next to my hometown. It's 20 minutes away in Athens. And it holds about, in the day, back then, about 900 people. And I did that really early on. I toured with a guy named Corey Smith for a while, and he sold it out. And I saw how really excited he was about it, and learned some more history about the building and that kind of thing. And I was like, all right, if I sell that thing out, I've done something, and I can go ahead and keep blowing fiberglass insulation and say that I did something. But, we did that early, and it just kind of, everything since then's been a bonus. So the Georgia Theater will always be one of my favorites. We were one of the last people to play there before it burned down. And then we did the grand opening with an album release. So it was that place has a lot of history with it. But I will say that Red Rocks in Colorado it's one of my new favorites.
Very cool venue for sure.
Mm.
So let's see. Charlotte Collins says, what was the first song you ever wrote?
The first song I ever wrote was like 3 chords and the truth, literally, because it was around 3 chords and it had like a pretty good melody to it, but the words always changed. It was like depending on what I wanted to sing about or what girl I wanted to sing to.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those.
You always had that in your back pocket to look up.
That's right.
Okay.
The song with no name. That's not.
Song with no name. That's okay. That's
No,
good.
we should have a better name for it.
Okay, we'll work on that. Maybe some of your fans can give you a suggestion for that. So there you go. He
Yeah.
needs a title for the song with no name.
Yeah.
Brittany Stoney says, out of all the bikes you own, what is your favorite and why?
I think it'd come down between I've got my Street Glide and my Softail. I got a 99 Softail custom though that's been, that was my first bike that I bought myself. So that one that's my baby and always will be. But I turned the dirty 30 January 20th. So I went ahead and made the transition to a bagger. I think that's like motorcycle etiquette for when you get to a point where the bar hoppers are fun, but if you're going to ride any kind of distance, you want to be on the dresser. I would imagine windshield. I don't want a damn thing. You got to be careful riding with a full face helmet. For those of you who have never rode with a full face helmet before, and you just want to take off and go on a long trip with one, be careful. On that ride we went on, you noticed you saw that full face helmet one time. You know why?
Why?
I fell asleep. I woke up next to a Kia. It was in my lane, which I thought was rude. But literally, I could have reached out and touched the headlight of that car. I literally woke up and said, like, vocally, "Good morning."
It was a long ride.
It was.
You put in some miles on that ride. So.
It was fun, though.
It was a good week for sure. Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany.
Chandra McDowell, do you remember fans that you have met several times?
Yeah, most of the time you always get that scenario where some people try you out. That's the shitty part. Yeah, it's like you shake hands with them and they're just like waiting. It's like, oh hey, you. But a lot of times, like if there have been people that have repeatedly come that we've got a chance to talk to and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, it's really, really hard to keep up with, people we meet from city to city, because there's been a lot of folks that have literally that have told me stories that have changed my life that, we really want to see those people when we get back in town.
Mm-hmm.
And then always in the meet and greets, we've got the folks that are always there when we're close.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta love them. But yes, I would like to say for the most part,
you remember a lot of people. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is hard for me because my memory sucks. It's awful.
So that's even more impressive than the
Yeah. Hit my head on that tree.
Well, that will do it. Nikki Quintana says, who is your favorite NASCAR driver?
You know what? All right. So I'm an Earnhardt fan. I've always been an Earnhardt fan. But I got to say that I was fighting. It's going on in Nashville. Let's address this. Not Nashville, NASCAR. I'm loving racing now. Again, I love it like I used to. When I thought of racing, I thought about Peach State Speedway. It was like the fastest half-mile track in Georgia. Scott raced there. But literally, I mean, we used to fight in the pits at that racetrack like it wasn't nobody's business. I mean, drivers would fight on the track. I remember Jerry Glanville, who was the coach for the Atlanta Falcons, was racing up there one night. And him and Wayne Willard. Wayne was this older dude that just like to wreck people. And he was like he was like big at that track. Well, they were bumping each other back and forth, and they went at it turn one. I mean, just pulled over, got out of the cars, and started fighting. And, NASCAR cleaned it up to the point where it was almost like those guys were like, okay, I'm going to drive the car. I'm going to get out. I'm going to talk about my sponsors, and then I got to go to my trailer before I do anything that's going to, get me fined or whatever. Now, I love it. They're back in the pits running each other down, beating the hell out of people that deserve it. I don't know who that little kid is, but he's made a bunch of folks mad.
Some good drama going on.
Hey, if Jeff Gordon, that well-smoking dude, gets fired up and grabs you by the collar, it's just food for thought. If you're a dude, girl, whatever, if anybody ever grabs you right there, knock that sumbitch's teeth out. I don't let that kid, just let him do it. So, I mean, you can't, if you're going to wreck people, kid, put your dukes up. Quit running from folks and quit wrestling. And then fight. Like, there are actually some pretty good little dukes thrown in there. I love it. Let's see if I watch Race Sunday. Oh, we.
So I think we have time for one more question.
Can we do two?
Two more questions?
Yeah, let's do two more.
Okay.
I'm having fun.
Okay. So this one's going to come from Taylor Aravet. She says, or he, how often do you work out, and do you find it difficult to stay in shape on the road? Definitely.
Man, and darling, what do you think? How's it spelled?
Like Taylor. It could kind of go either way.
That sounds like a dude though, right? Like you find.
I mean, I don't know.
Does that say how often do I work out?
How often do you work out, and do you find it difficult to stay in shape on the road?
That's a girl. Hey, darling.
Okay, that's fine.
Go. We got messages to tell us if you're a dude. I'm sorry, but I got it. So I work out as many times as I can, given the time. But there are certain times a year when touring's lighter. You get to spend some time at home and some time in Nashville when we're up here recording a record. I can always chop out an hour here and there. But sometimes, like right now, when literally I woke up this morning, I'm doing this interview, I'm flying somewhere and coming back. I don't know about that, did you? Pow. You didn't either. I was surprised at all y'all. I just blew all your minds. But no, when that kind of thing's going on, I mean, obviously it's hard to find time to eat right and eat as much as I need to and still work out. So as often as possible, but it's definitely challenging on the road, but there's ways to go about, we have somebody that lines a gym up, for us. And when we pull into town, the minute the bus is parked, if somebody wants to get out and go to the gym, we have runners go there every day. So it's possible, but yes, it's difficult.
So Brantley was gracious enough to say 2 more questions. So now this will be the last one.
All right.
From Bumblebee77.
Surely that's not.
It's their username. Obviously, that's not their first name. How do you keep from getting emotional or choked up while performing some of your songs live?
Well, Bumblebee, do I address them by their screen name?
That would be how you would address
This whole social media thing, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm being.
You're learning.
I'm learning. I'm getting there. Like, this thing's pretty neat, though, that we can talk and we can see. It's weird that we can see ourselves, and there's a little delay in it. Did you see what I was doing my thumb?
With your thumb.
That's it. Man, look at it. You see it? Yo, I'm really sorry. Sorry. So
how do you keep from getting emotional and choked up when you're performing?
I just go goofy and act like it. No, I do believe that, every time you sing a song that you write, if you write it correctly, you relive it. Well, with that being said, it's almost like you learn something new about that situation that you wrote the song about every time you did it. Like, you don't know her how, like I do, you don't know her how I do. You don't know her like I do. It was, of course, about Amber. And, when you're writing that one and singing that one, it's, there for a long time. This is another thing. Some of the songs that used to, hit you in the chest hard are like happy songs now. Like, now that she's back, like it's not a downer at all. But there were times when it was challenging to sing that one. But, I do think that every time I sang it, there was something that gave me a little more closure about it. Just when you go through a situation so many times, you learn from it and you really learn how to react. So I think it's but sometimes an audience does have the power to put you there, put you in that place, emotionally, depending on how they react. If it's, if it's a big blown up applause, or if you look around and you just feel the sanctity in the room, like almost like God's in it, you'll find a tear in your eye. Even a dude like me, I don't cry much. I don't like tears, but they're allergic to them. I break out real bad if I cry.
Do you?
So I think
it's probably good that you don't.
I think I may be making that up. There's like a 42% chance that that's made up.
That's false.
It could be false. That could be an inaccurate reading.
All right, guys. Well, that concludes our Google Plus Hangout Q&A with Brantley Gilbert. Brantley, thanks for being here with us today.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging with us. Thank you for the great questions. I know we had a great time. And be sure to pick up your copy of Brantley's latest album, Just As I Am, which I believe is available on the right side of your screen. So go pick that up. Thanks, guys.
And ain't there like a deal today?
99 cents. Go get it.
That whole record for 99 cents is like the dollar menu at McDonald's, but this is BG's restaurant. Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Woo! 99 cents. I'm going to go get me a couple of them.
All right. There you go. Bye, guys.
See y'all.